So looking back at chapter 5, I thought they had several good points. Again, the focus switch to a summary of chapter 5 begins with the idea of attention and being aware, and it's something that's been a common theme throughout the book, and I think throughout mindful leadership. And it's something that I think if you ask somebody on the street, they'd say, yeah, I'm attention, I'm aware, or I pay attention, I'm aware of what's going on, but in reality we don't. And if we get nothing else out of this class, at least hopefully we are able to realize that often we aren't paying attention, and we're focused on other tasks, focused on other things going on in our mind. And it might not be as obvious as somebody, on their phone as you're talking to them. It might be somebody thinking about what they need to do tomorrow at work, an assignment, whatever else is going on. They're just not there. They're not being attentive to the present situation. And that's at the core of mindfulness, is that you are in the present. You're not worried about what's going on in the future, and you are aware of your surroundings, of your presence. And it's something that takes time and practice, and no matter what happens, it's easy to fall back in that. I do all the time. I'll be doing something and notice that I'm really not even paying attention to what's going on, or I'm thinking about 4 or 5 other things, and you miss that presence. The chapter talks some about space, and that's one of the big issues for people, is just to have that space, to not feel like there's a million things going on, and just take that space, which is very difficult to do, and something that is not easy for people to do. If you were at work and you walk by somebody's office and they're sitting there and they're not on their computer, they're not working, and you ask them what they were doing, if they said, hey, I'm just taking some space, clearing some room so I can refocus and think, I'm sure a lot of people would say, is that being productive? And according to mindful leadership, that's exactly what we need to do, in that by taking that space, creating that space, we are able to refocus, able to eliminate a lot of those distractions, and focus on what's at task, focus on the present, and be more productive. One of the ideas that we were practicing this past week was the purposeful pause, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, just to take a second, just pause and kind of smell the roses and witness or see what's going on around us and experience life. We all often go through our day so quickly that we don't even think about that. I was at a stoplight the other day, and somebody was eating their lunch in their car, and I thought, here this person's probably eating something that's not very healthy from a fast food place, more than likely, and they're putting this harmful food in their body, and yet they're not even enjoying it because they're probably thinking about 4 or 5 other things going on in their life. And we just miss so much of life because we are not being present and really enjoy or embrace right now. And I think those purposeful pauses are a way to kind of recenter us, to kind of bring us back to say, okay, this is where we're at. This is the focus right now. All those other things, we can worry about later. Let's focus on being here and being present. And then the book goes into setting aside some time to think. I like the idea of having half an hour a week, just to think about different ideas. And that ties into one of the articles on innovation, and the idea that if we don't have the space to be creative, to be innovative, we won't be innovative. If our mind is full of what we're doing tomorrow, what we're doing next week, we don't have our time to think and just really let our mind go and let our mind just kind of wander. I always think back, for me, whenever I'd go fishing, and I'd go out and I'd be fishing, and you're really not thinking about anything but fishing or whatever else pops in your mind. And it's amazing some of the ideas that I can come up with in those environments, because you're not focused on 1,000 other things. You just focus on fishing, and you can focus on other things, and you get to be innovative, get to be creative, and actually think a little bit, not just be bogged down by your day-to-day activities. The other article dealt with or brought up the idea that people are more creative, more innovative, have more space on Monday, and as the week goes on, they kind of fill that space up. And it is interesting. Hopefully, for your discussion, you were able to go along and test this theory out. I don't know if I agree with it. I think for some people, they start their week off with no space, and it just stays that way all week. As we go through this, continue to go through this, I do think that as we continue to work on these skills, I think we'll find out that we do have more time than we think, and I think the time we spend on tasks will be more productive if we just are able to focus on those and not worry about everything else. One step at a time. Try not to multitask and just pay attention to what's going on around us.